Okay, good morning, class. So today we're going to be learning about the Romantic era of music. Now, when I say romantic, it's easy to think about love and mushy stuff, but the Romantic era is a lot more than that. So the Romantic era has to do with feelings and the type of feelings the composers were trying to convey. And so they did talk about love, but it was also much more deeper feelings. And feelings are something that we deal with every day in our lives. So let's say I was having a great day and it's beautiful outside, but then it starts raining and then I drop my sandwich or my lunch in a puddle and it ruins my whole day. That would definitely make me have a bad outlook on the rest of my day because I'm so sad and frustrated. And so that's kind of how the composers were trying to convey this, that they had this outlook that they wanted other people to understand. So now that we understand feelings and understand what the main goal of the Romantic era was about, let's dive in a little bit. So the Romantic era of music started in 1810 and lasted until about 1910. This era started due to a reaction from the Industrial Revolution. It was a revolt against the regular norms of music, so these composers were trying to turn away from the regular norms of music. So as we said before, the main goal of the music from the Romantic era was trying to convey the strong emotions to the listeners. The Romantic era was different than other styles because of how strong the emotions were that the artists were trying to convey. The reason for this music was different because before, in the era such as classical or whatnot, music was for the church or for to entertain people. And in the Romantic era, the composer said, no, we don't care about that. We're just trying to convey the emotions of this no matter what people think about it, which was at the time very shocking for the audiences because all they have known before was to entertain them or for the church. So even though it's kind of funny to think about now because there's so many different genres of music and today, this was a very new and revolutionary topic. So one of the most famous composers of the Romantic era was Beethoven. Beethoven started writing music and he didn't care what people thought, as we said before. He was just doing it to try to convey his strong emotions. Some other famous composers of the Romantic era were Tchaikovsky, Schumann, and Chopin. So now since we've talked about the history of the Romantic era, let's talk about the main characteristics that sets it apart from other eras. So the main one is music gets louder and stronger. When the music changes volumes, there's a dynamic contrast. Does anyone know what a dynamic contrast is? No. So a dynamic contrast is the difference between two usually extreme dynamics. So when something's really loud and then all of a sudden it changes to something really soft. The mood changes within the music are much bigger, more dramatic, and happen more often, so they're very exaggerated. Then the orchestras got bigger, and so as the orchestras got bigger, it led to a cool opportunity for more instruments, new instruments, and for old instruments to be improved. So I'm going to show you some pictures of some things. So this is a piano, a great orchestra piano. Can everyone say orchestra piano?
Orchestra piano.
Perfect.
Orchestra piano.
This is an oboe.
Oboe.
And so this is kind of like a clarinet, but just has a reed instead of like the whole mouthpiece. This is a flute. This is a piccolo, and a piccolo is like a fun little, like a miniature flute. And this is one of the biggest instruments, a bassoon. So this is like a huge, it's almost like a gigantic clarinet, but no reed. So it just has this little metal part, as you can see. And then the last characteristics is the music is longer. So before, when it was just shorter amount of times, now it would go on for a longer amount of time because they didn't care what the audience thought, so they could do whatever they want. So now we're going to listen to a piece from the Romantic era because our best way to practice distinguishing the different eras is to listen and to hear the characteristics we've talked about. So I'm going to play Tchaikovsky's Piano Concerto No. 1, and while we listen to this, remember the characteristics we just talked about, and also try to feel what emotion he's trying to convey through this piece. Let's make a big screen. Okay, that's a good place to stop. So what did you guys notice about Chervatsky's Cursetto, and then what emotion did you feel, or other stuff like that? Anyone have any? Oh, yes.
I think that it wanted to convey the emotion of despair.
That's great. That's really great. Anyone else? Yeah, right here.
I think that I agree, despair, and I also think that they use like a lot of like dramatic dynamics,
Yeah.
like you were saying, like it was very loud and very quiet.
Yeah. When she was playing all the pianos, it would go super
Yeah.
loud, super quiet. That was a good use of vocab. Great job. Anyone else? No? That was great. Okay. So, did you guys like this style of music, or what do you think? I know, yeah, it's kind of different than what we normally listen to, but it's interesting to look back and see how this was so mind-blowing and so a step in the right direction, I guess, of composers only making music for them, I guess, and not caring about what the audience thinks. Okay, so let's go over the characteristics one more time of the Romantic era, but I need your help because I kind of forget a few, so you have to help me fill in the blanks. Does that sound good with everyone?
Yeah.
Great. Okay, so in the Romantic
Pretty good.
era, the tunes get what? Louder and
Stronger.
Okay, the music switches from very
Loud,
to very
soft, or quiet.
great. There are mood changes that happen in the music, and these are much more what?
Extreme.
Extreme. Yeah, exaggerated.
Exaggerated.
A
Yeah,
great
yeah.
job. And the orchestras are much more,
Bigger.
yes, and the music goes on for a longer amount of
Time.
great. So overall, the Romantic era is much more than just songs about love. It's songs about all types of emotions. The composer of this time wrote these songs not to please anyone, but just for themselves to convey the deep feelings that they were feeling. It's filled with a lot of dynamic contrast, larger orchestras, and more exaggeration within the music to convey a certain emotion. So now we're gonna do an exit slip. So I'm gonna show you the pieces of paper and just write down what instrument it was. Remember we talked about it a while ago. Hi. Okay, so I'm just gonna show it to you guys, just write it down. Just write it down, what you're thinking. Remember, we went over this. Great job. Yeah, great job. Okay, I know it might be stressful, but just keep writing it. Yeah, great job. Okay, and then on your exit slip, one last thing, just write down 2 characteristics you remember of the Romantic era. So remember we acted them out, so if there was this, or this. Yeah, so does anyone have any final questions before you turn in your exit slip?
Can you remind us the names of the different composers?
Oh, that is a great question. I would love to do that. Okay, so we have Beethoven, Chervatsky, which is the one we listened to on the recording, Schumann, and Chopkin. They're kind of funny names, but the main one you remember is Chervatsky and Beethoven. Okay. And let's just take a moment and let's reflect on all that we have learned in class today. Does anything, that is great. Keep reflecting and turn in your exit tickets and have fun at recess.